Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this Wednesday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, webcam image of Nuiqsut. I'm sorry, this is not Nuiqsut, this is Wainwright, their western Arctic coast, and you can see pretty well socked in with fog. They reported quarter-mile visibility throughout much of the day today in fog there. And by contrast, now we'll go take a look at Nuiqsut. Clear skies, sunshine at Nuiqsut there. A little breezy, but not too bad. Temperature 38 degrees and nothing but sun, clear skies. Ceilings visibility is unlimited here. Quite a contrast from the western Arctic coast. And actually Nuiqsut inland from the coastline a little bit there. But even Barter Island, clear skies today with pretty gusty winds, though, up to 36 miles an hour peak gust today up there at Barter Island. But you can see clearing out, a lot of clear skies up there from the central coast areas eastward there, north of the Brooks Range. Getting some clouds there around Arctic Village on down into the interior with a little bit of moisture falling, mainly over the central Tanana Valley, and then increases a little bit back to the west due to this slowly moving eastward bound low there spinning and churning as it moves out of the southeastern Chukchi Sea in toward Kotzebue Sound, Selawik Valley today. A lot of clouds spilling eastward with that right up to the Alaska Range. Not a bad day though, east of the mountains. Lower 60s showing up around the Susitna Valley, southern Susitna Valley at Willow. Also Anchorage on down into the Kenai Peninsula and recreational area there. Cook Inlet recreational area around Kenai inland from the inlet. Temperatures in the mid-60s in some locations, and also sunshine here for the North Gulf Coast near 60 Yakutat, and the Copper River Basin breaking out right there, and that allowed Gulf Canada's temperature to rise to 65 degrees this afternoon. And for the 19th of September, that's pretty good. It's more than likely a record high for this date down over there in that area. And also nice here across the southeast coast with highs in the lower to mid 60s southern areas and upper 50s near 60 to the north. As this area of clouds rapidly dissipates with a weak disturbance tracking off, but another one down here will be pushing northeastward, and that'll bring a risk of some moisture to the southeast coast, probably not so much tonight or tomorrow, but after that time period. And the clouds building here south of the Aleutians, associated with the next storm, is going to be pushing northeastward. There's a warm front, narrow band of some light precipitation, fog, low clouds, IFR, west of Adak today, tracking northeastward here. And that's also west of St. Paul, just reporting some fog this afternoon there. And that links up with this area of rain, light rain, fog, and drizzle. Southwest coast, Cape Romanzoff, and inland areas. Kiana picking up about 0.2 of an inch today, as well as Tanana and Koyukuk there on the east end of the, or northeast part of the Seward Peninsula, I'm sorry, of the Norton Sound area. They picked about 1/3 of an inch, one of the heavier amounts recorded, although a few locations more isolated had heavier amounts than that. But that tapers off, just some scattered showers around the mountainous areas of the Susitna Valley, Talkeetnas, maybe back toward the Denali Park area and into the Tanana Valley, Fairbanks, 1/100th of an inch, very light precipitation there. Otherwise, back to the southwest coast here, rainfall pretty rather widespread in the shaded areas here, but not all that heavy. St. Michael and Amonuk picking about 1,500, so definitely on the light side. And again, the clear skies showing up here, eastern Gulf Coast into the Panhandle, most eastern North Slope areas. Forecast for tonight, this low slowly moves eastward, about 1,015 millibars, so not too strong, so not looking for too much in the way of wind. Winds up here in the eastern Arctic coast around Barter Island, those will gradually diminish, but probably won't end altogether tonight. It'll be much lighter back to the west. And so low clouds and fog, like Wainwright saw today, it could become a little more widespread tonight, but mostly along the coast and offshore. Rain will continue to push eastwards. Maybe you get a little more precipitation tonight than we saw today for the Fairbanks area on up toward Livingood, and then back to the northwest there across the Koyukuk-Kobuk Valley on out toward actually the Noatak Valley. And then easterly flow on the north side of that low could actually result in some clearing there along the western Arctic coast. Otherwise, a weak trough will spread some light rain into Togiak Bay. Definitely a wet evening overnight period, but nothing heavy coming up either in the way of wind or rain for the Pribilof Islands. This next system developing quite nicely here, and you can see a fairly tight gradient with that, so look for moderate to possibly heavy amounts of rain moving into the central Aleutians there. Gale force winds coming into the picture, 35 to 40 knots tonight through tomorrow. Otherwise, Gulf of Alaska, very weak trough, and maybe some drizzle and fog off the coast. That should remain off the coast here, the southeast coast as well. Otherwise, mostly clear skies there remaining. And then for tomorrow will be another mostly sunny day for the entire panhandle. Again, this system down here to the south, and especially this trough right there, that could clip the southeast part of the southeast coast. Again, Stewart and Hyde with maybe a chance of a shower or two, maybe a few more clouds here. Dixon Entrance, Heidelberg, Annette, Metlakatla, those areas. Otherwise, no change with light winds for the remainder of the panhandle over to possibly Cordova. Then you get into clouds from Valdez westward across south central Alaska. Could be a few breaks, especially southern Cook Inlet with this northwest flow, Kodiak Island. Trough up here over the central interior. Areas of light rain and showers from the Brooks Range, Koyukuk Valley, back into the Kuskokwim Valley again. Looks like precipitation cutting off about the western Alaska range on back to this trough here. Quite weak, but a lot of moisture with it. So clouds and light rain showers, again, on the light side. Then the stronger storm out here with the gale force winds tracking northeastwards, not all that rapidly. You can see the wind field shifting eastward a little bit there, and rain will spread up to the Pribilofs tomorrow afternoon with a warm front spreading eastward to Unamac Island and Nikolsky, possibly on Alaska late in the afternoon, and showers over Bristol Bay. Going on to Friday. That storm continues to look pretty impressive here as it pulls northward across the Bering Sea. So pretty gusty winds, gale force winds, and rain. Looks like the heaviest rain will remain down here to the south along this portion of the frontal boundary and just graze the Alaska Peninsula, moderate, possibly heavy at times. This week trough, wet, cloudy, rainfall over Kodiak, heaviest on the west-southwest side of the island, and looks pretty wet here, cloudy, occasional light rain, south-central Alaska, as well as along this weak front up over the eastern interior. So 40-mile country on north looks pretty wet, could mix with snow there, some chillier air wrapping back around that weak 1,011 millibar load up there for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and that moisture scatters out to isolated here back to the west. Dry over the northwest. Aleutians, not too bad, westerly winds 10 to 20, fog, low clouds, basically dry, showers to the north. Southeast coast looking really good on Friday. Back to the sunshine, or sunshine continues back to the sunshine for the southern areas. If you pick up enough cloudiness tomorrow, as you can see, this system well to the south. And then for lows down there tonight, upper 30s, lower 40s, 30 to 35 eastern northeast interior, 25 to 30 eastern Arctic coast, mid to upper 40s here for the southwest interior, near 50 for the Alaska Peninsula, and lower to mid 40s for south central Alaska, near 50 for the Aleutians. Highs tomorrow, lower 60s to Sitna Valley again, to the Kenai Peninsula, 55 to 61 for Bristol Bay, 30s to lower 40s on the Arctic coast, 40s for the Brooks Range, and 50s to the south in the interior. And very nice, another nice day coming up, upper 50s to maybe mid 60s for the Panhandle. Lows about the same as what we'll see tonight. Maybe a tad warmer up here over the eastern Arctic coast into the Brooks Range, mostly in the 30-35 degree range. Near 40 central interior, lower 40s here, south central Alaska, mid to upper 40s out to the west to lower 50s for the Aleutians. And then highs on Friday, 55 to 60 southeast coast and 55 to 60 south central Alaska, 30s up in the Arctic coast.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First line weather graphic here showing surges of IFR moving from southwest to northeast here, breaking up as they get into the interior, but still quite a bit of marginal VFR and IFR getting in the central interior. Until you get over toward the border, stays VFR, up north VFR, and a solid batch here hitting the southwest coast, coming in across Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta to about Togiak, back across the Pribilofs, and another big area out over the western Aleutian southwest Bering. Otherwise, southeast coast VFR. Tomorrow afternoon stays VFR there, Dixon Entrance up to Lynn Canal Glacier Bay to Yakutat and the Wrangell Mountains. Marginal VFR shifting eastward, into Prince William Sound, back across the Talkeetnas, northern Sitna Valley to the Alaska Range. Some areas of IFR here, mostly on the western slopes of the western Alaska Range, Denali Park, and IFR there, Kobuk, northern Koyukuk Valley, basically, and the south side of the Brooks Range. VFR on the north side, but marginal on the central coast. And better conditions now, marginal VFR over the southwest interior, St. Lawrence Island, down to Unalaska, Nikolsky Dutch Harbor. IFR here north of the Alaska Peninsula or along the north coast there. And then this area out to the west for the Friday morning. That makes a jog to the east-northeast here, overtaking the Pribilofs and also Unimak Island, central Aleutians, right in the thick of it. And a lot of marginal and IFR again here into the interior. It looks like Cook Inlet and Susitna Valley by special gift of just VFR here in those areas, and the Kenai Peninsula, and also marginal VFR continues here for the western or into Prince William Sound, moving eastward slowly, and then IFR along the Alaska Range, and the Panhandle again staying VFR. For Friday afternoon, that continues. Nothing but VFR here for the southeast coast up to about Yakutat, but marginal there just to your south and west. Prince William Sound, mostly marginal. Much of the interior marginal, east side of the Alaska Range there on the north side. Band of VFR weather, upper Yukon Valley, VFR. Otherwise marginal, most of the interior right on out to the Arctic coast. And a narrow band now of IFR extending from the eastern Aleutians here northeastward right into Togiak Bay and the southwest mountains there. Kodiak Island, southwest side, we'll see some IFR, but Fognak Island in the VFR zone into Cook Inlet, and also some IFR, but not nearly as extensive as it was out over the western Aleutian areas of the Bering Sea, just mostly marginal. And for the passes, Anatuvik, marginal VFR with IFR as moisture lifts northward there, so IFR possible on the southern entrance. That same forecast and pattern holds for Adigan as well, and for Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR with the IFR and the lowest conditions occurring on the western entrances and approaches, both passes there. Also for Rainy, same pattern, IFR western entrance possibly. That's probably where the lowest conditions will be, with better, higher conditions off to the east, and then windy, marginal VFR at times. And for Isabel, VFR trending toward marginal, as well as Mentasta may or may not become marginal there. It'll be a much slower trend, so you should see VFR for a good portion of the morning into the afternoon. And for Tanita, VFR slowly becoming marginal as the day wears on, or chances of it increase as the day wears on. And for Portage, VFR with the westerly flow, but due to that westerly flow, the west side here could go marginal in the afternoon. And for Chilkoot and White, at least 1 or 2 more days of VFR flying through both passes. Freezing levels showing 6,000 feet here, basically across the southeast coast up to the north, as well as southern interior here, and then slowly dropping to about 4,000 feet with just a pocket of 2,000 foot freezing levels with eastern Brooks Range at the surface along the Arctic coast. And then 8,000 feet here, eastern Bering Sea to the Alaska Peninsula. Warmer air, 10 to 12,000 feet over the western Aleutians. Icing, a lot of moisture sliding up, so above about 10,000 feet for the considerable moderate there. But in the interior, areas of isolated moderate in this shaded area above 4 to 6,000 feet. Upper air chart showing this upper low slowly moving eastward there, trying to cut through this ridging with 120 knot jet right into the Yukon Delta coast, 9,000 feet, 40 to 45 knot westerlies, band of 20 to 25 southwesterlies here, both at 3 and 9,000 feet. Light and variable southeast coast, southern Alaska, 40 to 50 in the Aleutians, resulting in moderate chop for the central Aleutians there in this zone, and a little bumpy here in the central interior, those southwest winds.
Hello, I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite orbiting 22,000 miles above Earth. I can see a lot of cool stuff from up here, and I take pictures of it with my spiffy camera that has 16 different settings. I have such good eyesight, I can see clouds, snow, smoke, smog, and ash, so I can warn you about dangerous conditions and help you avoid them. When storms are brewing, I watch them closely and help with hurricane, tornado, and flood warnings to help keep you safe. And my lightning mapper tracks lightning strikes way up in the sky, even through dark, dense clouds. I also help with search and rescue missions. I listen for distress signals from emergency beacons and tell search and rescue teams just where to find people who need help. But even when I'm keeping a close eye on Earth, I'm monitoring weather out here in space, too. I watch the sun for big bursts of energy, which send waves of radiation toward Earth that can affect power grids, block communication with planes, cause errors in GPS, and damage satellites. Space weather is also very dangerous for astronauts working outside the International Space Station. I warn them so they can get inside where they'll be safe. So the next time you watch a weather report or check your phone for the forecast, remember, that's me. So look to the sky and wave. I'll be here. Whoa! Things are looking pretty bad down there. But don't worry. I'm going to give weather forecasters a heads up and help you stay safe. I'm a GOES-R series weather satellite, and one of my jobs is to keep an eye on Earth's weather as I orbit above. But I'm 22,000 miles above Earth. How does your local weather forecaster know what I see all the way up here? First, I have to figure out what's going on. I point my special camera at the Earth and take pictures of the clouds I see below. My pictures show where the clouds are, but I also take lots of other notes about the clouds. For example, how high they reach into the atmosphere, how much rain they might cause, and when a severe storm may be forming. But I can't keep all of this information to myself. I have to share it with weather forecasters down on Earth. A big antenna is waiting for my call. Since I'm a satellite, I send my pictures and notes in a computer language of ones and zeros. Luckily, the antenna speaks my language. Computers connected to the antenna organize my notes and combine all of the pictures and cloud information and translate them into weather maps. They send a version of the maps back up to me. I'll hold on to these for later. Another copy of the maps is split into smaller pieces. This helps the maps move faster from one place to another. The map pieces are then sent for processing before being sent back up in the sky to a communication satellite. From there, the maps are picked up by antennas at the National Weather Service forecast offices in each region. There are more than 100 offices. I also take the maps that I received and send them out to companies that specialize in making the maps more colorful and better for viewing on TVs and computers. The colorful maps and the maps from the forecast offices then go to your local weather forecaster. The forecaster combines the information from these maps with lots of other information, like model forecast data and radar data, to make predictions about the upcoming weather in your area. And that's how I help you find out if bad weather is going to ruin your afternoon plans. You're welcome. Soon it will be my time to shine in outer space. I'm the GOES-R satellite. That stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And the R stands for my order in this series of weather satellites. Like my older siblings before me, I'll do a lot for watching weather, but I'm pretty special because I have a lot of new gadgets. I'm originally from Colorado, but my journey to space has a few stops along the way. I'll be shipped in a very special satellite shipping container to Kennedy Space Center. Moving me around is not easy. I'm over 18 feet wide and weigh 6,000 pounds. And then things get really exciting. I get loaded onto an Atlas V541 launch vehicle. A big rocket! Woo! After Atlas and I blast off together, my compartment separates from the launch vehicle and I continue to climb higher and higher. Then I break away completely and unfurl my solar panel and antenna. After that, I have to use my thrusters to get into just the right position, 22,000 miles above the ground and traveling 1.9 miles per second to keep up with Earth's rotation. And then I can officially start my job along with my fellow GOES sisters, where I take advanced pictures for more accurate weather forecasts, map lightning in real time, and improve the monitoring of the sun's activity. It's going to be so awesome! I can't wait!
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at the sea surface temperature. Of course, up here around where it's blue, that's where the ice has been sitting all summer, so temperatures around freezing there. Warming up back to the west, really not much change from what we've seen. Not really any big cooling, maybe a little bit going on up here, but nothing significant. Otherwise in that 50 to 55 degree range down across the Bering here near 10 Celsius. Of course, Gulf of Alaska much warmer, up into the yellow there, which is approaching 15 degrees Celsius or so, give or take. And really no changes in the sea surface temperatures coming up, anything significant over the next 6-7 days. On to the coastal water forecast. South coast, northerlies 10 to 15. North to northeast, light 10 knots. Seas 4 feet for the north side there. Lynn Canal, light winds, north at 10, northwest 10 for Stevens Passage. Practically no wind at all there for Clarence Strait. Seas pretty slight, 2 feet or less. And then for Friday, a little more of a breeze here over the southern inside waters, about 15 knots, specifically for Clarence Strait. 3-foot seas, 5 knots out of the north for Stevens Passage. Nice conditions, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay north at 10. South coast, breeze at 15 out of the north, 4-foot seas, 3-foot seas, northwest 10 on the north coast, and even lighter back toward there south of Yakutat. And for Prince William Sound, northwest at 10, light northwest winds also for the North Gulf Coast tomorrow, seas 2 to 3 feet all through those areas. Cook Inlet northwest at 10, westerlies 20 knots over Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands with seas 4 to 5 feet. And then for the Friday outlook, even lighter winds and more variable in those areas, 10 to 15 knots with 3-foot seas. Generally a variable to south in the afternoon wind for Cook Inlet, 2 to 3-foot seas. South to southeast at 10 here for the North Gulf Coast as well as Prince William Sound, and really slight seas, not only for Prince William Sound, even 2 feet out here over the North Gulf Coast. And for Kodiak Island, west-northwest, 20 knots tomorrow, seas 3 to 4 feet. 20-knot winds out of the northwest down to Castle Cape, and then they turn west at 15 on the Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula. North side, southwest 20, and then west 20 for Bristol Bay, seas 4 to 6 feet. And for Friday, south to southwesterlies for the Alaska Peninsula, so some definitely small craft advisory winds coming in with that incoming front, but probably at this point doesn't look like there'll be any gales. Seas running 11 to 14 feet here. Also small craft advisories now in the forecast for Bristol Bay. South winds increasing to 25 knots, 6-foot seas. And these 30-knot southwesterlies all the way up to Sitkinak. Seas, though, only building to 7 feet, and southwest 20 for Kodiak Island, seas 4 to 6 feet. And for Unalaska Island tomorrow, south to southwest, 20 to 30 knots with 5 to 6-foot seas. I should say increasing to 20 to 30 knots. But those winds increase markedly to gales here, coming almost to Umnak Island there, 40 knots out of the south, 11 to 10-foot seas. And then south to southeast, 40 to 45 knots. So pretty good wind, stiff breeze coming into the central Aleutians there, the seas on the Pacific side of the islands up to 18 feet. And 40-knot winds will extend to the west to about Amchitka Island here, then drop off significantly down to 15 out of the west from Kiska Island to Shemya. And those will be southwest on Friday, otherwise westerly winds, so a lot lighter on the winds here for the central and western Aleutians from Amchitka Island to Adak and Atka. West 20 seas 6 to 13 feet. And small craft advisories for the Fox Islands, southwest 25 to mostly 30 knots and seas 10 to 15 feet. Southwest coast west at 20 or 15 to 20 knots, with seas running 6 to 7 feet. Southwest 20 for the Pribilofs and southwest 15 for the St. Matthew Island zone. Pretty light winds for St. Lawrence Island, westerlies at 15. And then those will pick up to east 25 on Friday with that storm tracking northward into the Bering. And south to southeast along the coast here, 25 to 30. Small craft advisories for the Pribilofs and St. Matthew Island. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast yet, those small craft advisories hang on to the eastern area through tomorrow, southeast 25, much lighter here toward the central coast, east at 10, all the way down to Wales. And then for Friday, southeast 10 to 15 here for Chukchi Sea, east 10 on the western side of the coast, and northerlies to variable at 10 for the central and eastern coastline, 2 to 3 foot seas. And for tonight, this system moving rain into the central interior, stronger storm with the gale force winds coming northward and eastward tomorrow, and Saturday tracks up into the Bering Sea.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.
I loved Ken Burns' series.